This is 2022 Spring Exuberance from Golden Tips Tea. And so this is one of the teas I smelled before that really made me sneeze. So really interested to see what it's going to taste like. The dry leaf is sweet and kind of spicy. Maybe a little bit of a savory note going on, but definitely that Darjeeling sweetness for sure. And then here's the cold brew. Now I am a bit concerned because this has been cold brewing for a couple days, much longer than the typical 24 hours that I cold brew teas. But I did taste it a little bit before I got started, and it doesn't taste bad at all. So even though it may be a bit stronger than usual, still pretty good. So let's go ahead and pour this up and do a proper tasting on this. Just gonna hit this a little bit. All right. All right. So right away we can see very clean, very clear. No plant material at all. Color champagne, you know. Love those Darjeelings. I like this one because you can smell the liquor when you put it. There's a little bit of bitterness, the middle part of my tongue. And there's definitely sweetness there. I mean, it tastes really good. I'm just finding it difficult to really pinpoint what I can relate this flavor to. It's not as raisiny as some of the other sweet Darjeelings, which I'm sure is why you get a little bit of spiciness in the dry leaf. I really wish I could find something to relate this to. All I can say is that it is sweet. There's a little bit of bitterness on the middle part of my tongue, which is not ideal for me. I prefer the undersides and the sides. The one thing I can say though is I can't get over how much the aroma is part of the taste, because the minute that you put the cup to your face, you can't help but take in this very sweet aroma. And again, I'm having a hard time trying to pinpoint exactly what that aroma is, but it's definitely sweet. I keep wanting to say something like raisins, just because that's what I'm used to tasting from these Darjeelings, like the raisins, the plums, that sort of thing. And it is in that vicinity, but it's definitely not a raisin or a plum. It's really not. The other thing that's interesting is it seems that a lot of the sweetness is in the aftertaste. But overall, very refreshing. You know, if I was out and about on a hot day, this will hit the spot for sure. No questions asked. All right, so let's go ahead and let's pour up this hot brew, and let's see what we get. Just to show you the leaf, very, very green. Very little processing other than just rolling and drying, of course. Again, it appears to be something in between a typical first flush and second flush black tea. Really pretty leaf. I mean, I really wish this color comes out on camera. I can't imagine that it is, but it's a beautiful leaf to look at. More than some of the others, honestly. All right, so of course I'm going to hit this with very hot water, and I'm not going to rinse this because like I said, these are very fresh and very green leaves, and so I'm just gonna hit it just hard enough that we get something out of it, and right away I'm getting a spinach aroma. Oh, all right, so now I'm starting to understand. When I was smelling through all of those black teas, anytime I got a savory note in the dry leaf, I bet you I'm going to get a real green tea spinach type aroma coming off the wet leaf. Because this one is strong. I mean, as soon as that water hit it, without even putting my nose to the glass, you could smell the spinach. Oh my goodness. And it's so good. I mean, so I really like Gyokuro, and I'm sure I did a video on Gyokuro before. It's a Japanese green tea. Very much like spinach, and Gyokuro, traditionally you can eat it, right? So after you finish drinking the tea, you eat the leaves. And so the smell of this though makes me really want to eat the leaves, but I don't think I'm gonna do that, right? But I mean, it smells really good. If someone were to put this on a plate and said, hey, you know, here's your appetizer or whatever, I would dig in, no questions asked. You know, it is a very bright green leaf, and to the nose, you cannot distinguish it from something like a spinach, you know. Man, I mean, and I'm okay, not necessarily spinach, more like greens. I mean, just I'm trying to express, right? Like it's very yeah, like greens. It smells like greens. It smells really good. I mean, it smells really good, like savory, not sweet at all, just straight up savory. It smells like someone cooked some fresh greens, maybe even put a little meat in the pot, maybe some fat meat or something like that, and put this on your plate, and you're eating this, no doubt. You know, and then I know back in the day, there was a conversation concerning pot liquor, right? And that's something that you would typically feed the babies, right? And it's really just those juices that are cooked off of the greens, and maybe, you know, some fats from the meats and stuff like that. That's what that smells like. And so I'm curious as to what this brew is going to be. And right away, just the difference between the cold brew, where you have the cold water slowly extracting those sugars and those plant materials out into the water, versus hot brew, where you have hot water that's just like hitting that leaf and grabbing whatever it can out as quickly as possible. Curious to see what the difference is in taste. Let's see. Yeah, crazy savory. That's it. Oh, it's so good though. I'm not joking, man. It's like it is. It's no different than the pot liquor. It tastes like pot liquor. It's so good. Man, it's so good. It's so savory. There is not even an ounce of sweetness in this. It's not sweet at all. But the cold brew is. But also too, I think because of the because of the because of whatever is in this particular leaf that gives you that savory note. That's what's making the taste of the cold brew so hard to really pinpoint, right? Because it's definitely sweet. You know, you can taste the sweetness, but there's something there that's with the sweetness that it's not. It's straight up spinach, no questions asked. This is greens. First time in my life ever tasting a tea um, that tasted and smelled like greens. That's amazing. It makes me want to put some salt and hot sauce in this liquor and seeing what that tastes like, because I know it's going to be good. And part of me wants to eat the leaves too. And I think I will. I have some ponzu sauce in there that I usually put on my gyakuro. But this to me seems like maybe vinegar and a little bit of hot sauce versus the ponzu that I put on gyakuro. Yeah, this is really good. I'm gonna keep hitting this with really hot water because that seems to be what this tea needs. I am gonna push it a bit just to see what happens. I mean, they're gonna put some really hot water and steep it for as long as my patience can take it, and just see what happens. The first infusion was really fast, and so typically when you have a fast infusion like that, you expect the liquor is going to be watery and weak, but this one is very flavorful. I mean, it is a straight up broth, like no questions asked. And so I'm going to definitely have some fun with this tea. Another thing I think is important to note here is that with Gyokuro, personally, I prefer to cold brew it and then warm it. And even the cold brew for Gyokuro tastes like spinach. This tea, however, the cold brew is sweet. It blows my mind how the same plant from different places, and you know, different processing methods, of course, yields completely different results is really amazing to me. So I'm gonna steep this as long as I can stand it. Now the question becomes, does this tea make it into my you know, bag of teas that I take with me everywhere? I don't know. I mean, it is interesting. You know, the Gyokuro is kind of my favorite as far as savory teas go. This one though is definitely something I'll remember for sure. I just don't know if I'm going to include this in my bag of teas. But who knew that a Darjeeling could even reach this? You know, the other thing I want to say is the Gyokuro, the only way that they get it to get to that level of, you know, spinach type flavor is they have to grow it in shade to increase the plant's chlorophyll levels. As far as I know, all of the teas grown in Darjeeling are like plantations, and so there isn't a lot of shade trees to shade the tea. Also, too, Gyokuro in Japan is a second flush. You know, it's grown and picked in the summertime. This is a first flush, grown and picked during the spring. So it's It's amazing. Okay, so here's the second infusion. This one is purposely, I don't know, overbrewed, but definitely steeped for a long time. Let's see what we get out of the leaves here. And they have really opened up now. And again, the wet leaf is just as pretty as the dry leaf. And it really is a gorgeous, gorgeous leaf here. Yeah, so I have to wait for some of the heat to dissipate, but again, greens, that's what it is. There's just no question about it. If somebody put this on my plate and told me it was in the greens family, I'd believe them. There's no way I would think this was tea. No way. All right, so let's see what we got here. All right, so the bitterness is dialed up quite a bit. And maybe I ought to mention that the first infusion didn't have any bitterness in it at all. So this bitterness is dialed up quite a bit. The bitterness has actually overtaken the greens like flavor. It's still there, but there's just so much bitterness that it's really subdued, right? Again, the bitterness is on the middle of the tongue. It is starting to kind of creep down to my pleasure region, you know, the sides, the under sides of my tongue, starting to creep down there. But it's very much a tea that stays on the middle part of your tongue. Yeah, and like I say, the greens flavor is still there, but a bit subdued. Bitterness is overtaking it. So I want to say too, so I'm not getting any sort of real like energy out of this. I don't feel relaxed or anything, so I can't say that there's any real body sensation from this tea. Maybe a bit warming, but it's hot tea, right? So I don't know if I can say that. This is definitely a tea that I will not only impress my tea friends with, because I'm impressed. I didn't know that a Darjeeling could do this, right? And I do think also this is a tea that I would definitely recommend to someone who is new to tea, because it does it's very light, easy to drink. The cold brew is sweet, not as sweet as some of the other teas, but it's still sweet. And the hot brew, I guess if you were to explain beforehand to someone new to tea, right, that what they're about to experience is something like pot liquor, or is something very similar to you know, vegetable broth, or you know, the juices that you would get out of the greens or something like that, then I think it could be a pleasurable experience for them. So I mean, yeah, I mean, what can I say? It's a great tea, and maybe I'll look to include this. We'll see.